Hello, everybody. Welcome back to my monthly market update. I'm Mary Nack with Compass, and Happy New Year. A lot has happened since we were last together, the December 17th, I believe. We have a new president, and oh my gosh, what an amazing uh, time we are living in. As some wise sage says, may you live in interesting times. And we can certainly say that we are living in interesting times. I hope you had a good holiday. And let's just get right to it. I'm by myself today. It's been a little hard getting back into the swing of working. I had a great holiday, and I hope you did too. And it's been very relaxing. In Chicago, our restaurants are cleared to reopen with indoor dining again. So yay. I was actually hoping I could find some place for brunch yesterday, but since they just put the order in place on Saturday, most of our all of our go-to places that we like to go for Sunday brunch weren't open yet. So I'm hoping next week that will change. And I hope you're all staying well and healthy and being safe. We go for our vaccines on Tuesday, so yay. Very excited about that. But of course, we'll all continue to wear our masks and practice social distancing and wash our hands, all the things we know we need to do. So I hope this finds you well, and I think you'll be interested in seeing what's been going on in the market. Let me share my screen and pull that up for you. Let's see, where do I do that? Oh, here we go. Okay. I have to shut this up, I guess. Okay. All right. Hopefully this is showing you my usual graph that I share with you on our monthly market updates. Our MLS gives us these once a week. They update them typically sometime during late afternoon on Monday, so we don't have this past week's, but we have a week by week snapshot of what's going on in the market. And the lime green is the previous year of closed listings, and the sky blue is our current year. And what's really interesting, these are this is all property types, our whole MLS area, so it's a very broad snapshot. If you want me to do an analysis for your particular property, we would need to drill down into neighborhoods and whatnot, and property types, etc. But this gives us a broad view of what's going on overall on the market. Interestingly enough, you can see that we have been consistently over 2019 in closed listings. And even though this past month or so since, let me see, where does Thanksgiving fall? Here's Thanksgiving, of course. We had a surge right after Thanksgiving, the end of the month, of course. People like to close. But this is typically Thanksgiving marks our down season. So you can see that there's been a downward trend, but we are still above 2019 in closed listings. Properties under contract. This is really interesting too. Look at how many more properties are under contract this year as opposed to 2019. 2019 and the beginning of 2020. These graphs go back 6 months. So this is showing us from the middle of August to the middle of January. But so August of 2019. Yeah, August of 2019 versus 2020. Okay, got that straight. And of course here again is Thanksgiving. And there's a little bit of a downtick here for the holidays. Here's Christmas week. Here's New Year's. But look at the listings have come back up under contract. I mean, our You know, I know that there's this sort of thing in the industry that our spring market starts after Super Bowl Sunday, which of course we're now 2 weeks away. All of you football fans, yay! Who are you rooting for? Um, Boy, the Chiefs really clobbered the Buffalo Bills yesterday, didn't they? That wasn't even a contest. But anyway, not to get distracted by the Super Bowl. Let's see. So I just distracted myself with the Super Bowl. Anyway, I guess there's this rule of thumb that our spring market starts after Super Bowl Sunday, which is definitely not the case. We came back. The market's been very active. We've been very busy. I know I've seen an uptick in showings. Here are new listings. Now, this is interesting because we are actually lagging behind listings from 2019. Not as many people. Of course, COVID has a lot to do with that. People don't want strangers coming into their home for good reason. I mean, I don't blame them one bit. So they're kind of hunkering down, and you're seeing that people are coming on the market. What we're seeing a lot of, people have moved their sales to their move to the suburbs. They've moved up their plans to move to the suburbs sooner rather than later. And of course, the suburban market is doing very well. Pockets in the city are doing well. It just depends. It's so neighborhood by neighborhood. I know the downtown market, I talk to my colleagues, I don't do a ton of downtown business. I'm more out on the north side, Lincoln Square, North Center, Irving, or my neighborhoods where I do the bulk of my business. But the downtown market, of course, is really in tough shape. And but the Lincoln Square neighborhood's doing very well. So it's a very localized, very neighborhood by neighborhood phenomena. And again, if you have a property that you're thinking about putting on the market, we could definitely use the listings. Prices, well, let me go to the next chart. These are the rentals. Rentals are also down. Well, rentals are down. People are taking advantage of the interest rates and moving, I guess, deciding again, fast forwarding their plans due to COVID and getting into ownership versus rentals. But now this open houses are coming back, of course, over the holidays. They were down, but they're coming back. And these are the showings. Let me make this a little bigger because I found this was interesting. The showings, we're actually, you can see here, this goes back to the beginning of the year of 2019 is the gray line, 2020 is the navy blue line. And you can see here that this was January of I think that must have been a polar vortex or something. I can't quite remember, in 2019. But it seems like we had a pretty sharp drop off in showings that week of January in 2019. I'm thinking that was a polar vortex. So that'll usually dampen our activity. And of course, this is 2020. This is when we locked down. There were no showings, and we really came roaring back. But you can see here about mid-July, the showings are up from 2019, but we're following the same trend lines. This is probably Labor Day. This is probably Thanksgiving or whatever. I don't know. Oh, I guess that was the election. Huh? This was Thanksgiving weekend. And we're pretty much following, Christmas, New Year's, we're pretty much following the same trend lines. And this is the beginning of 2021, and showings are on the increase. So that's pretty much, I think, following after the lockdown, we've pretty much gotten back on track with that. Let me take you over to our InfoSparks. I set this up. This is a whole Chicagoland statistical area. Single family homes, whether it's a condo or a townhouse or detached freestanding single family, resales. And I took out all of the foreclosures, the short sale just staying with traditional, your typical seller, not a seller, not a distressed sale. Um, Something we may need to be looking at down the road, maybe not the too distant future, when evictions and foreclosures are allowed to resume. I have a feeling in 2022 we're going to see a pretty sharp uptick in foreclosures. See what the government does, but with stimulus and all that stuff. But these small mom and pop landlord, they can't abide having. Many of them are not in a position to have a tenant that's not paying rent. They can't make their mortgage payments if they're not getting their rent. And they can't evict a tenant right now. So it really is putting a lot of smaller homeowners, and even the large, I mean, come on, let's be serious. I mean, even large property owners, how long can they sustain not having rental income coming in? But if they have hundreds of units, obviously not every tenant that they have is not able to pay rent. Many people are in a position where they're not in trouble with their finances. In fact, I think we're seeing more and more of a bifurcation between the haves and the have-nots. But that's a whole political discussion we don't need to get into today. But I know that my son's friends, for instance, are all working remotely. They don't really have anywhere to spend their money. There's no eating out. There's no, they can't go to their bars. They can't go to the shows. They can't go to the restaurants, all the things that they enjoy doing as young urban professionals, they're not able to do. So they shop on Amazon, and a lot of them are just socking money away. And I think a large percentage of our population falls into that category. And then, of course, there's the hospitality workers that are out of work and unable to make their payments. So there's definitely a strong bifurcation in our society and in our economy that's going to need to be addressed one way or another. I don't know. But as I said, that's a discussion for another day. So this is, okay. Let me go back to the beginning. I was looking at these before I got on our call. I went all the way back to where we started collecting this data. This starts in January of 2008, and this is the median sales price. And I just find this so interesting. Of course, this is when we had the financial meltdown right here between August and September. There was a bit of an uptick over the spring market, but we had like a delayed reaction in our housing market. Even though the market crashed in 2008, the end of 2008, we didn't really see the repercussions of that until for a year almost. I mean, it's like it peaked in 2009, and look at here. I mean, we tanked here May of 2010. I'm not sure what happened here, but then come March, we didn't have a spring market that year, apparently. It just kept getting worse and worse. This must have been when the foreclosures really hit the market and got through the pipeline. It does take 2 or 3 years sometimes for a lender to work a foreclosure through their system because they go through a whole period where the owner has a redemption period, and that's 6 months, and it just takes a long time for the banks to get the foreclosures through their pipeline. So I just find this interesting that we actually peaked in April of 2009 in the Chicagoland market, and the bottom of our market came in 2012, and many of us who were in the industry at that time can tell you it was not a pretty thing. We pretty much stayed. There was an increase here. I'm not sure what happened here. We'd have to go back and look to see what's going on with the market. Trying to think when the election was, but I don't think that wasn't anything to do with that. I don't believe. And then we tanked here again in 15. I don't know. It's just very interesting. And there was a slow increase. And then in 2018, we just plateaued for a year from June of 18 to July of 19. Then we were starting to slowly come back. Here we are just at the point of lockdown. Things were starting to pick up. We locked down and boom, look at this. I mean, wow, it has skyrocketed. Since June of 2020, the median price when we locked down was 250. We are now up to 267. And of course, this is why our market times, I'm guessing, are probably down. Yep, look at here. The market times have taken a deep dive, starting to come down. Month supply of inventory, the rule of thumb on month supply is 6 months of, if you've got enough, month supply of inventory takes the ratio between the number of properties that are on the market versus the number of properties that are going under contract. And the rule of thumb is if you have 6 months or more of inventory, then you are in a buyer's market. If you have 6 months or less of inventory, you are in a seller's market. So of course, back here, this is when we had the market crash. Well, I don't know. I guess everybody. Well, so we had an increasing buyer's market. Here is a 6 month mark. It has been a seller's market literally since August of 13. We have been in a seller's market. And since the beginning of 2002, here we locked down, February 20, March 20, we locked down. So there was a little bit of a plateau right here at the end of the year. Boom, it has been going down. We are now at 3 months supply of inventory. So if you need to sell, guess what? We need inventory. So I don't think I have really, I don't want to go through all these. It's probably not a lot of point in going through all these, but this just confirms that we don't have enough properties. We don't have enough properties to sell. The amount of inventory is declining. So anyway, I hope that is useful information for you. Again, if you are interested in purchasing, interest rates are great. I was hoping to have Terrence on with me today, but we didn't get our act together. I wanted him to talk about the mortgage market, but he wasn't available to do that. So that was my bad. I didn't give him enough warning. He had other commitments that he had to honor. So hopefully he'll be back with us next month to share with us what's going on with the mortgage, but interest rates continue to remain very low. It's a very favorable lending environment. A lot of buyers are making permanent changes, moving up their plans. So it's a good time to be in the market. It's tough right now because there's not enough inventory. So if you're a seller and for a reason need to get your property on the market, we definitely need more inventory. All that said about not having enough inventory and prices being up, it is still a very price sensitive market. Buyers are nervous for good reason. And the way the internet has changed our industry is there's really no secrets anymore. Everything is pretty transparent, but I'm here to help you through the process, whether you be a buyer or a seller, and would love to help you with that. My big news is in 2021, I'm hoping to bring on a buyer specialist. That's one of my goals when I sat down and put together my business plan. Would love to bring somebody on. If you know somebody who's interested in getting into the industry, they don't need to have experience. I'm happy to train them, but they do need to have a license. And anyway, that's something we can talk about. Reach out to me if they need to get a license. I'm certainly happy to point them in the right direction in that regard. But if you know somebody who is looking to make a career change, ultimately wants to have a real estate career, I am looking to bring on some members of my team, and would would prefer to work with people that I know rather than just put an ad on Craigslist or something. So um, keep that in mind. If you know of anybody, send them my contact information. And I think that's all I have for today. So have a good month, and we'll look forward to seeing you again next month, same time. Always the fourth Monday of the month at noon. Um, and hopefully next month, Terrence will be back with me. Have a good month. Bye for now.